Welcome back to the TNT show. It's your host, Tyler. My co host, Tavius, is having some technical difficulties with his phone here, getting that fixed today. Pretty good week in NFL last week. Let's jump to let's go back. Pretty big week. Had some pretty big trades yesterday. Yesterday was the trade deadline for the NFL. Let me get my stuff pulled up here. So some of the biggest trades were, obviously Zadarius Smith going to the Lions. I think for the Lions that is huge. Obviously, he's a pretty good pass rusher. With Aiden Hutchinson being out, he's going to bring that presence back on defense that they kind of had with Aiden Hutchinson. So to me, it wasn't really necessary, but they are trying to make a Super Bowl run. So I get why they did it. I think one of the biggest moves in the free agency was the Commanders trading for Marshawn Lattimore. Um, I think I'm not going to say they're going to make a Super Bowl run or nothing crazy like that. He is a very good player. I think they just need a few more pieces on defense to really, make a push and contend for a championship. I think they need just a little bit more on the offensive side. I think they need one more weapon, but I like the moves they're making. Obviously, they're getting attention. They're showing teams and players that they are a high level team. They're ready to compete. They're going to compete. Jaden Daniels is obviously, you know, going to be their franchise quarterback as long as he can stay healthy. Um, the Cowboys traded for Jonathan Mingo. Not really, nothing too crazy. He barely played at Carolina. The Bengals traded for Khalil Herbert. Not ex- not exactly what I wanted the Bengals to do. They needed another running back because Chase Brown is carrying the load, and he's kind of getting banged up a little bit. So we kind of do need somebody else to take the pressure off of Khalil Herbert, or take the pressure off of Chase Brown. And Khalil Herbert is a solid backup. I don't think he will just come in and take over RB1 role right off the bat. I do see them splitting carries. So as a Chase Brown person in fantasy, that I don't think it'll hurt very much. At least right now, not right off the bat. Mike Williams going to the Steelers. Uh Mike Williams is good, but his health is just kind of what gets in his way a lot of the time. Honestly, I like it for the Steelers. If he can stay healthy, he will be a great addition to Pittsburgh. Again, another one of those teams that, are playing pretty good football. So they're trying to make the right moves offensively because their defense is elite. So they're trying to make those moves offensively to possibly make a run. Let's go back over some week 9 recap. Um, the Bills and Dolphins game Sunday. The Dolphins are still in kind of, I wouldn't say just like, I feel like they're just trying to push Tua, and I think kind of at this point, he's been back 2 weeks, and they were close games. Both losses were close, but at this point, obviously he's going to play. But I feel like maybe sit him, just let him, get back comfortable. I'm sure, we don't know what's going through his mind or anything like that. I'm sure it's in the back of his mind. If I get hurt again, this could be the possible end of my career. But the Bills are playing pretty good football right now. Josh Allen is playing MVP level football right now. So I think the Bills are going to be a very tough team in the playoffs. I like what they're doing. They just got to stay healthy. I know Keon Coleman is kind of banged up a little bit. So they just got to stay healthy and don't get on the injury train like everybody else. One thing that shocked me was the Ravens Broncos game. I know Tavius isn't here to talk about it. Um, yeah, Derrick Henry is definitely going to be a problem. I mean, he is. We talked about it last week. He's got to have 20 plus carries. If he can have 20 plus carries and over 100 yards, they're going to be pretty hard to stop. Lamar are playing at a very high level. Both of them obviously playing at an MVP level right now. Derrick Henry is on pace for another 2,000-yard season. And the Broncos had a very good defense. And for the Ravens to kind of run through them like they did is just kind of scary. I would be a little nervous to play Baltimore right now because they are kind of rolling. I know they got beat by the Browns, but that's kind of lightning in a bottle with Jameis because you really haven't. He hadn't really played a whole lot, so it's kind of lightning in a bottle right there. Fresh. He brought some energy that the Browns haven't had in quite a little bit, to be honest. So take that loss with a grain of salt. It is a divisional loss, but yeah, the Ravens are definitely a very good football team right now. Another big thing that happened was the Saints head coach Dennis Allen got fired. You went from 2-0 to 0-7. So is it all his fault? You could say a little bit of it is. I think the loss to the Carolina Panthers was the nail in the coffin. Honestly, they've been devastated with injuries. Derek Carr put Chris Olave in a very, very tough spot. Got him injured. He's got a concussion. The whole Michael Thomas coming out and going after Derek Carr, saying that that's who he is and everything, and Derek Carr having to address that in the press after the game is, you don't want to do that. But I think Derek Carr is probably going to be next. I think you kind of got to roll with him the rest of the year and kind of just hit the reset button. Whether that be you roll with Spencer Rattler or you, at the rate that the Saints are going, they're probably going to have a top 5 pick at this point, probably top 3 at this point, if not number 1. So you kind of either have to hit the reset button, build around Spencer Rattler. He did come in. He looked decent, giving what he was put into and the position that he's in with the people injured around him. So and they just traded away Marshawn Lattimore. So I feel like the Saints are probably going to try to make some moves in the offseason to try to get back to Saints level football, because this is probably by far the worst Saints team that we've seen in a long time. So take it with a grain of salt. A lot of your team is injured. Obviously the head coach wasn't the right move. So now you got to pretty much start over. You got to find a good head coach that's going to point you in the right decision, make really good calls. And if that means making moves and getting rid of people, that's just what you're going to have to do, and that's what it's going to take. Jumping to the Commanders-Giants game. I like what the Commanders are doing. I said it earlier, obviously they're getting a lot of attention right now. A lot of people are seeing that they are a very good football team. They have a really good quarterback, and a lot of people are going to want to play for that kind of organization when you're winning. So I think that their stock has skyrocketed as far as maybe trying to contend and getting these high level players. I like what they're doing. Obviously, they made the right decision drafting Jaden Daniels. They are playing very good football. They do need to work on the defensive side. That's probably their weakest link because they can't really stop anybody, but they have to get in the end zone. Me and Tavius were talking about this because he mentioned something about a Super Bowl run with them, but personally, they don't get in the end zone enough. And I think that's going to limit them when it comes to playing like the Rams or the Lions or somebody that's going to actually get in the end zone. Like you're going to have to score. The Falcons Cowboys again. The Cowboys are another. I don't know what. I don't know what to do for them. Dak is on IR, potentially on IR. I think you just sit him the rest of the season. Honestly, they can't be much worse. You're not winning games. You're not winning games anyway. I think it might be. I mean, they paid him all this money, so moving on from him is not an option. Maybe Jerry Jones, maybe, but I doubt they're going to move on from him or he's going to step down or whatever. It's been the same thing. It's a broken record. It's the same thing in and out every year. So it's just the Cowboys being the Cowboys right now. They need a lot of work. They got injuries. Your season's pretty much over with now, so it's kind of let's not make it worse than what it needs to be. The Lions Packers game was really good. The Lions, in my opinion, are the best football team in the NFL. They went into Lambeau in a rainstorm and pretty much handled business. Like Dan Campbell said, they are built to win. They are ready to win. They'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that's the kind of head coach that you want to see. He's very emotionally involved in his team. He supports his guys no matter what. It's like I said off the air to Tavius. Nobody thought Jared Goff was going to bring the Detroit Lions back, to be completely honest. They sent him there to die. They were patient. They built around him. Now look at them. They're probably going to the Super Bowl unless something crazy happens. Monday, the Bucks and the Chiefs. Tavius wanted me to bring this up. He said, I'll get to it in our predictions, but the Chiefs are escaping games, in my opinion. The Bucks had them beat. You didn't go for two. In my opinion, you have to go for two in these situations. It's regular season. What do you have to lose? You lost regardless, especially with the overtime rule in the NFL. I feel like if it's tied with the momentum that the Bucks had, I feel like they should have just went for two. I mean, you had the undefeated two-time Super Bowl champions on the ropes, and you kick an extra point. I personally think they should change the overtime rule because I feel like I know it's regular season, but if whoever gets the ball first in overtime, majority of the time, usually wins because all you have to do is score a touchdown. I think the other team should at least get a chance. And it is because I mean, if the opposing team scores a touchdown, obviously it's 4-down territory. So I feel like at least give them a chance. because if you kick a field goal, the other team gets a chance. So I don't really see what the difference is. But also, again, the Bucks. You know, you got to give Baker credit where credit's due. I mean, he's still competing with teams. Yes, they haven't won a couple games, but he's still competing with literally a tight end, some backup wide receivers, and 3 running backs. And I mean, as crazy this is going to sound, I think you kind of got to throw Baker Mayfield's name into this MVP race. That's my hot take. Stats don't lie. He has over 20 touchdowns. I know his picks are a little up there, but if we're going to go stat for stat with people, you got if that's how we're going to look at it, then we got to be fair and look at Baker Mayfield and what he's doing with what he is doing, competing with the Falcons and the Chiefs. Yes, they're not winning, but he's still going to the wire with them. They're missing their key pieces. Let's jump to NFL Week 10. So I've got Tavius's picks. Let's go through his. So Week 10, Thursday night, we got the Bengals and the Ravens. Tavius picked the Ravens. He said by 3 touchdowns, but I'm not going to allow that. Is Baltimore a good team? Yes. Are they the better team? I will gonna have to slightly say yes. The Bengals defense is the weak link right now. This could be a huge win for the Bengals. I'm going to pick the Bengals. This is a huge win and can turn around their playoff run. For them to make a run, they need to beat the Ravens. If they cannot beat the Ravens, they're not going to beat anybody in the playoffs or potentially make a run. So I think this is a huge game for the Bengals. If they don't win, I think Zach Taylor is just getting closer and closer to getting pushed out the door. We got the Giants-Panthers game, 8:30. That one's probably I think that one can go either way. The I like the way Bryce Young's playing. Tavius isn't on here to talk about it. But Bryce Young is playing pretty good. He's kind of showing that he does have a little potential. I think maybe benching him was maybe a wake-up call, reality check kind of thing. Like, hey, man, you can be replaced. Like, it's easier. It's easy to do. Like, man, we'll find somebody else and you can go be a backup somewhere if you don't want to show that you have what it takes. I mean, he's pretty much playing with, I think his name's Jake Coker, something like that, from Holy Cross. So if I got his name wrong, I'm sorry, but he played at Holy Cross. And he still looks pretty good. I mean, he's looked a lot better these last 2 weeks than he has probably his whole NFL career, to be honest. So I'm going to lean Panthers. The Giants don't have enough offensively. Their defense is really good, but Daniel Jones is an issue there. So we got the Broncos and the Chiefs. Tavius picked the Broncos as an upset. I've been picking upsets for the Chiefs for the past couple weeks. So far, nobody has been able to knock them off. The Broncos do have a pretty good defense, all things considered, what happened last week. But the injury to Patrick Mahomes' ankle it looks scary. It looks really scary. They said that's the same ankle that he has had problems with. So I don't think that That could be a factor. It could not be. I'm not hopping on the bandwagon, but I am going to pick the Chiefs to win just because their defense is really good. I think Andy Reid will throw everything he can at a rookie quarterback with Bo Nix. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs. He picked the Broncos. Steelers, Commanders. We both picked the Commanders. The Steelers do have a pretty good football team. I think this could be a huge win for Washington to show that they can compete with some top teams. The Steelers got probably top 3 defense in the league right now. This would be a huge win for them. I think it will be a low scoring game because of the defense for the Steelers. I would like to see Jaden Daniels get in the end zone a little bit more. But yeah, we're both leaning the Commanders there. We got the Eagles, Cowboys. We both picked the Eagles. The Cowboys are obviously, going to be without Dak Prescott, probably going to be without CeeDee Lamb. So it's going to be interesting to see what their game plan is. I mean, I feel like the Eagles are probably going to beat them. Probably. They should beat them respectively. It shouldn't even be close. But you never know. This is the NFL. We're both going to go the Eagles. 49ers and Bucks. We're both picking the Bucks. 49ers are just a little banged up right now. Christian McCaffrey is supposed to play. It's a broken record. I'll believe it when I see it. That could be huge, though. So if he plays, obviously the 49ers are obviously a much better team with McCaffrey, but, him and that injury to his Achilles, you never know. They may not put a lot of workload on him right out the gate. So I'm probably still going to lean Bucks. I want the Bucks to win. We got the Lions and Texans. We both went Lions. The Texans are a little banged up right now. They are still without Stephon Diggs. He's out for the rest of the year. Nico Collins is still on IR. I think he is set to return in the next couple weeks. But CJ Stroud is definitely missing his 2 top guys. That's showing. I mean, that's going to show with any quarterback. I just think the Lions are just going to be a little bit too much on both sides of the ball. Their defense is really good, so they're going to get after CJ Stroud. He has been getting sacked quite a bit, to be honest. I actually think he might be the highest sack quarterback in the NFL right now. So I expect the Lions to I wouldn't say dominate the game, but I will say I think they win by at least 10 points. The Bills Colts. At some point, the Colts are going to have to make a decision with Anthony Richardson, whether or not that be. They shut down the trade rumors and said they weren't going to trade him. So I feel like if that's how you really feel, I think you just got to put him back in. Or let him sit and learn behind Joe Flacco for the rest of the year. Excuse me. But I think Buffalo wins here. I think the Colts are they got some figuring out to do. So, but I think the Bills win that one. Patriots, Bears. Caleb Williams has been digressing. I think they're done with their head coach. I think Eberflus will probably not be there next year. So it's like their coach is just a carousel at this point. They need to. He put Caleb Williams in a very tough spot last week, and you can't put your franchise quarterback in that kind of spot. You're down 20 points, and he's still out there. I get it. He needs the reps. He may need the experience, but if I'm giving this guy the keys to my team, my franchise and everything that they want him to be, you can't put Caleb Williams in that kind of situation for him to get hurt. So I'm going to lean Bears. I think personally they are a better team overall on both sides of the ball. The Patriots are young, but they are playing good football. They are playing good football, but I do think the Bears are just slightly have the edge. And then Monday, we got the Rams and the Dolphins. Like I mentioned earlier, the Dolphins have not won a game since Tua came back. I know it's going to take some time. They've been close games. I think their nerves are still there for Tua. Maybe he hasn't gotten that connection back with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. He's missed quite a bit of football. They kind of got off rhythm. Personally, I'm going to lean Rams. Tavius is going to lean Rams as well. And it's showing with the Rams healthy that they are a scary team. They are probably going to potentially make a run here. They could. They're 4-4. So with Puka back, Cooper Kupp, and Kyron Williams, and they're all kind of clicking together. I know Puka's injury is kind of scaring some people. So they are playing really good football right now. So look out for the Rams. They may be a dark horse team. That is all we got for week 10 predictions. We are going to do the college football playoff bracket reaction today. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple days. We are still working on getting a schedule to do our first face-to-face, live video recording. We are still working on that. I have been going live on TikTok. I'm trying to get a schedule for that so it can be kind of a set thing, kind of like we're doing with this. I'm thinking 3 days a week. Not really sure on the time frames because I know everything is up in the air with that, different times and, stuff comes up and everything like that. But it will be, I do want to get a set schedule, at least for the days, so y'all tuning in can have something to look forward to. We do appreciate everybody that is stopping by on our lives, all the people talking, commenting, joining, talking with us, gifters, everybody donating and stuff like that. We really do appreciate that. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that we got. Like I said, we appreciate everybody stopping in, and we'll see y'all next time.